Educational purposes only. This does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or prescription. No doctor-patient relationship is created. Significant health risks. Use of PEDs, hormones, and related compounds carry serious risks, including permanent injury or death. You assume all risks. By using this information, you act voluntarily and are solely responsible for your health decisions, blood work, and medical supervision. Know your laws. Ensure compliance with all applicable laws, regulations, and athletic or organizational rules in your region. No liability. No guarantees are made regarding safety, effectiveness, or outcomes to the fullest extent permitted by law. The provider is not liable for any injury, illness, loss, or damages arising from use or misuse of this information.
All right, new channel. Let's see what's up. So what are anabolic androgenic steroids? Anabolic androgenic steroids are synthetic derivatives of testosterone or other hormones such as DHT that are designed to mimic or amplify the effects of your body and raising your levels to supraphysiological levels, right? And we're going to see. So what is the difference between anabolic and androgenic steroids? Oh, I forgot to mention these bind to your androgen receptors, increase shit like protein synthesis, nitrogen retention, red blood cell production, and everything else under the sun. See what's the difference between anabolic and androgenicity, right? So anabolism refers to the muscle building capabilities of a compound and how good it is at building muscle, because that's what we all want. But on the other hand, you fucktards who want androgenicity for fucking dimorphism, androgenicity refers to the amount of masculinization effects or masculinizing effects that a compound might have on your body, right? Like that could be making your face more dimorphic, body hair, or making your chin wider, or also making you go bald. All right, so now we got that shit out of the way, we can look at the anabolic to androgenic ratio. Every compound is measured against testosterone, which is rated 1:1 or 100 to 100. The higher anabolic ratio, or the higher anabolic number that it has, means that it has more muscle building potential and less androgenic effects if it has a lower androgenic rating, right? If we want to get androgenic effects and grow, sure, get dimorphic effects, grow your fucking penis, for example, then we'll use a more androgenic compound. As we can see, there's a spectrum for it, right? Like every compound has a use in its stack. We can look at the spectrum here. We see Anavar all the way on the fucking left. I couldn't be fucked to fix it, and I got it incorrect as well. But it is pretty anabolic for a DHT derivative. It gives you that dry look, sure, and it also upregulates collagen production. Interestingly enough, primobolan, despite being a DHT derivative, also has a really good anabolic to androgenic ratio. If you look at something like nandrolone or halotestin, fuck, dude. Yeah, we're fucking, dude. We're Norwooding. We're going bald. So I'm not saying that androgenicity is bad. Of course, it has its use cases for dimorphism or if you want to grow your penis or whatever, right? I'm just saying, strictly from a pure bodybuilding context or standpoint, that you have to watch for the androgenicity to anabolism ratio. After you determine that compound's androgenicity to anabolism, right, you can come to your own conclusions. Hey, is this a fit for my stack? Yes or no, right? What are the goals of my stack? What am I trying to achieve? And once you realize what you're trying to achieve and you have everything set up, sure, go for it, dude. Dude, fuck. So this is where we get to the unfun part of injecting a shit ton of fucking testosterone for muscle. Because when you inject too much, there's enzymes in your body that convert the fucking testosterone. So you can either become a water balloon or you can become a fucking bald incel. Your testosterone just doesn't lay there, dude. It fucking converts. I don't know why. Fuck, there's enzymes. I couldn't tell you why, dude. Fuck. Actually, I could tell you why, but I just won't, dude. But what I think is more important is we understand what testosterone converts to and what those conversions do inside of our body. So what we know is that testosterone can convert to these two hormones in our body, mainly aromatase that converts it to estradiol and 5-alpha reductase that converts it to DHT. Well, at least let's look at estradiol first, right? Estradiol, E2, blah, blah, blah. This affects brain health, bone density, cardiovascular health, joint health, sexual function, right? So if you have too much E2, your dick stops working. And if you have too little E2, your dick stops working. Like, dude, what the fuck, dude? What do I do? So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it in the optimal range. For most men, it's 20 to 45 picograms per nanoliter.
But still, doesn't E2 close my growth plates? I need it for height maxing.
Well, no fucking shit, but you're going to be a fucking dumbass at the end of the day, right? Because E2 is still neuroprotective and it will protect your brain, and you're literally not going to be able to consolidate memories if you don't fucking have E2 and your dick won't work. Well, I mean, there are ways around this by signaling specific estrogen receptors, but I am not going into this shit in this video. That is going to be a separate video. Dude, just plain and simple, just keep your E2 in range, man. Time to move on to the source of all evil, DHT. Well, that was kind of an overstatement, but DHT does cause balding. We both know that it causes androgenic alopecia in adults or people who are prone to it, but guess what? I don't think it really serves any purpose after puberty. Sure, it does convert to neurosteroids such as allopregnanolone, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the other one because I've tried, and it is a mouthful. Honestly, I don't really think it serves any major role besides making you go bald outside of puberty. But sure, during puberty, it could make your dick bigger, could give you more dimorphic features. All right, I kind of went on a tangent, so I cut it there. But let's talk about suppression on cycle or when you're injecting exogenous hormones. The hypothalamic pituitary testicular axis, HTPTA, right? We all know they release GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Look on the right. Yes, look on the right. We're going to see hypothalamus releases GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. That goes to your pituitary gland within your brain. And then your pituitary gland releases LH, luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. LH is responsible for your production of testosterone, and your FSH just makes you produce more cum, right? So we're going to see if we add exogenous hormones, it's going to suppress the axis and it's going to shut down because there is a negative feedback loop going. And this is very dependent on dosage. You could get like proviron at 25 milligrams and you could get like almost no suppression or very little suppression. But something like tren that binds very, very stickly to the androgen receptor will give you very heavy suppression. It's all dependent on the compound. So don't be a fucking dumbass about it and do your research. Dude, I just realized I was speaking at the speed of light because I'm on fucking Addy right now, and I'm stressed out as fuck because finals. But okay, half-life, steady state. We all know that certain compounds, every compound basically has a half-life within your body. So if, for example, compound X has a 2-hour half-life, after 2 hours, there will only be 50% of it in your body. Caffeine is an example and it has around a 9-hour half-life, right? That's why you don't want to take caffeine afternoon. So same applies for steroids. You can see on the graph when you inject it infrequently, the hormones fluctuate and they go up and down. This causes excessive aromatization or 5 alpha reduction, and this could very much well mess with your fucking hormones. You don't want this. I'm not cutting this. Fuck you guys, right? If you are injecting daily, there's just a key principle: inject as frequently as possible, please. If you can inject daily, inject daily. If it has to be every other day, do it. Just inject as much as possible. You want to split up your dosing and you want to keep your hormones stable. Please, please, please. Also, I don't want to cut shit and I'm not reading off a script. So I'm not even looking at the screen. I'm only looking at the screen for main ideas. So we're going to just freeball this. Esters, right? Esters are chemical attachments added to a hormone to control how fast they're released into the bloodstream. You might have heard of testpropionate, testanentate. Hey, which one's more effective? None of them. They're the exact same hormone, right? Don't fucking fall for, hey, test P is fucking better than test E, or test E at 500 milligrams is better than test P because it has more milligrams per milliliter. Fuck, dude. Like, I don't understand how you guys are this stupid. We're just gonna look. Short esters clear your system faster. So, for example, if you're running something like Tren, you'd prefer to go on Tren Ace first and see how you react to it. So, if you get really bad insomnia and you can't fucking sleep, then you could stop the Tren and you could see, hey, how can I fix this insomnia? Maybe add some fucking melatonin or add some trazodone. Same with everything else, right? If you don't want to inject as frequently, sure, you're a lazy fuck, right? You're a fucking chud. Go ahead, use fucking test E or test undecutinate, right? We can see test esters don't make the compound stronger than they already are. It's still the fucking bioidentical hormone. So whoever is fucking telling you that, dude, just don't listen to them. But something with esters that you have to do know, or you do have to know, is that um the longer the ester, because the esters also take up molecules, right? Like the weight of the molecule. The longer the ester is, the less of the actual hormone you're gonna get in your system because the more milligrams are gonna be used to like hold the ester. So if we were to look like fuck, dude, if we were to look at something like suspension, dude, that shit burns as fuck to inject. Do not do suspension unless you want to do it pre-workout, dude. It still hurts like shit to inject. It's worse than glutathione. I can't even compare it to anything. I haven't done DHB, so I couldn't tell you. But suspension, you get the full 100 milligrams. There's no fucking ester attached. You piss that shit out in 4 hours, right? It's out of your system, in and out. Propionate, on the other hand, you get 83 milligrams or about 83 milligrams of the actual bioidentical hormone if you do inject it, right? But the thing is, you have to inject it pretty often, and it usually comes in like less concentrated forms, like 100 milligrams per milliliter. So you have to inject more fucking oils into your fucking ass cheeks or your shoulders, which is a pain in the ass. I personally pin my shoulders because I don't like pinning my ass cheek because there's too much fat on there. Yes, I just have a fucking big ass bubble butt. Um, I think everyone's go-to though is Cypionate or Enanthate, right? We all see everyone run Test E, Test C. Well, you guys might be wondering why there might be Test C and Test E, even though they're so similar. Some people metabolize it differently. I've seen case studies on where people metabolize Cypionate and they get lower peak serum levels compared to Enanthate, right? Most people tend to metabolize Enanthate the best or propionate the best, and that's just genetic dependent. And you really can't do anything about it. You just have to see what works for you and you personally. Don't go off other people's fucking anecdotes. Try it yourself and see what it does once you get blood work done. Dude, so I'm low-key getting tired, like filming this at fucking 10 p.m., even though I have a fucking final tomorrow. Dude, this shit's tiring, and I'm too lazy to even edit it. I told myself that this was gonna be a high-quality video, but cut me some fucking slack, dude. This is my first video. We're gonna look at key hormones now, right? There's key hormones, testosterone, estradiol, dihydrotestosterone, and sex hormone binding globulin, right? Testosterone, you already know, base of every cycle, 1-to-1, androgenic to anabolic scaling. Base of every cycle, basically, unless you're weird and you want to run an E2 fucking base cycle. Um, E2, we already know if you have too much of that, you get fucking gyno and you turn into a water balloon. And if you have too much or too little of it, fuck, your dick stops working and you feel like you want to blow your brains out. Dihydrotestosterone, pretty much no use after fucking puberty. Unless you want to go bald, sure, why not? Let's fucking go bald together. And sex hormone binding globulin. This shit binds to your testosterone and makes it inactive and unable to bind to the androgen receptors within your muscles or bones. So what you can do to reduce it is take something like proviron. It binds it up for a bit. Something like Mastron also does that too, to some degree, if I'm not mistaken. But when you go in for blood work, your hormone binding globulin will be the main factor in if you have a lot of free testosterone compared to your total testosterone, or if you have it the other way around, right? You want a lot of free testosterone to bind to your androgen receptors so you could build muscle and have anabolism. But if your sex hormone binding globulin is too fucking high, you have no testosterone actually like circulating in your system that could bind it to any androgen receptors. So you also got to get that shit tested if you can. I kind of feel like I'm trying to rush through it, but okay, I'm actually going to take my time now. PCT, post cycle therapy, people usually use it after their cycles. They use terms HCG, HMG, shit like tamoxifen and clomid, raloxifene, you know that shit. HCG derived from pregnant woman piss, and HMG, which is like basically recombinant LH and FSH. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure, but hey, we're gonna see because fucking PCT is cope, and I don't think you should ever fucking do it. HPTA, you already know the axis that we talked about earlier. What controls your hormone? The endogenous shit. That shit's still kind of cope. I'm not gonna lie with you, unless you're trying to have a kid. Um, yeah, you already know exogenous AAS suppresses it. TRT, so testosterone replacement therapy. People will blast fucking 500 milligrams of um testosterone and say it's fucking TRT. Sure, why not, dude? TRT is usually around 100 to 250 milligrams. 250 milligrams is the very, very high end. It really depends on your BMI and how big you are, how much muscle you retain, and how much androgens you need to retain that muscle and keep it, even though you're not blasting a shit ton of androgens, right? Someone who is a lot bigger is like 250 pounds. They're going to need a lot more testosterone than you skinny fucks that are 150 pounds. Well, fuck, that's kind of hypocritical because I'm 150 pounds too, but we'll see. We just run that shit indefinitely for life. I'm planning on running TRT for the rest of my life because I don't want to become a fucking normie and run at low ass levels and have to actually get good sleep and eat a good diet to have adequate amount of fucking testosterone when I could just inject testosterone and have fucking double your levels, right? Aromatization. We already know aromatization is just tests converting to E2, making you look like to a fucking water balloon. You could take aromatase inhibitors such as letrozole or arimidex or aromasin to inhibit this enzyme. This enzyme is the amount of it you have is very dependent on genetics. I'm pretty sure Asians have more of it and have less of 5 alpha reductase. That's why they kind of look more feminine, but we can see that body fat percentage, age, and genetics play a huge role in this, right? So it's very user dependent. You have to see. It's like, dude, you just can't go off of fucking internet anecdotes. Because what if like the guy on the other side of the screen is just a fat fucking 250 pound, like 50% body fat piece of shit, and you're just like a skinny ass lean boy. Like you're not gonna have as much aromatase as him because you don't have as much adipose tissue. Just do your own research, see what works for you, dude. Like I can't exaggerate it enough, dude. People will see these fucking stacks online and will just copy it fucking word for word, dude. So it turns out I still rushed that fucking session or section. So maybe my teaching style is just pretty fast paced, but I'll try to slow it down for everybody. The main compound families, because most anabolic steroids are classified into 3 different families, right? Number one, we see testosterone derivatives such as dianabol, boldenone. They're just built off of the testosterone backbone, and they aromatize, they 5 alpha reduce, blah blah blah. They act just like testosterone, just modified just a bit. Number two, there's DHT derivatives such as Masteron, Primobolan, Anavar, Winstrol, quote unquote dry compounds that give you that dry, grainy look that you're looking for with all your veins popping and shit, right? We see, dude, I need to stop saying right, dude. But we see that these cannot be all 5 alpha reduced or aromatized because they already have been 5 alpha reduced because these hormones are based off of DHT, and DHT can't be 5 alpha reduced or aromatized. That sounded redundant, but I'm telling you, there are some fucking people in this community that are that stupid that they can't grasp the idea of that. Lastly, we look at 19 Nords. Dude, these shits are very, 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 very neurotoxic, and you need a neuroprotection stack if you are going to hop on any of these, or else you will come out of it a fucking mindless bum, dude. I'm telling you, you don't want to come out of it like the fucking Patrick Drooling gif, if you know what I'm talking about, right? You'll literally be a numbskull. Well, they're basically based off of nandrolone, which is synthetic androgen. Um, they are usually classified by the removal of the carbon atom at the 19th position. You hear this shit a lot because of trend, blah blah blah, nandrolone. I'm pretty sure nandrolone does convert to a form of estrogen, which gives you that fucking wet look. It makes you all bloated and shit. Um, you can just use an aromatase inhibitor to inhibit that. Trend doesn't though. Trend doesn't 5 alpha reduce, nor does it aromatize. It is very strong and it is very neurotoxic. It can build up amyloid plaques inside of your brain, cause Alzheimer's, and other shit like that if you use it at high doses for too long without any neuroprotective compounds. These are all roids, all fucking androgenic anabolic steroids do cause excitotoxicity to some degree. They all do exert neurotoxicity to some kind of degree. Excitotoxicity is a form of neurotoxicity when your receptors are just like fried because it's so excited. You can hear it it's in the name. Your receptors are too excited and they are just constantly being fired and fired and fired. So you got to regulate that kind of signaling, right? There are a lot of ancillaries that I will go into in another video to help prevent this. Well, I'm basically done with this shit, dude. What's coming next, dude? I'm gonna after break starts, I'm probably gonna start making deep dives into actual compounds. Like, if you guys want to deep dive into trend, maybe like FGFR3 inhibitors, blah blah blah, whatever. Literally just DM me on TikTok, recommend it to me, and I will probably make a video on it. I'll add like stacks, protocols with like ancillaries, make sure that your blood work is in range, blah blah blah. Ancillaries, PCT, I don't think you should PCT, but if you do want to PCT, I could help you. Heart heart protection while on cycle. There's just a bunch of shit. If you want to protect your liver, your kidney, your heart, your brain, there's a lot of shit, dude. Steroids are very damaging to your body, and you need to understand that before you do hop on. But there are shit that you can take to mitigate those side effects, or maybe even reverse it and restore it to even beyond baseline function, right? I could also give out sourcing, but I don't know if I'm allowed to on YouTube. But you could always shoot me a DM on TikTok, and I will probably give you sourcing to whatever compound you need. Unless it's a very niche compound, I will be gatekeeping that shit. Fuck you and fuck you all. Wait, dude, whoa, 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 whoa. What's the fuck next video? I'm probably just gonna give like basic guide on testosterone, just clear all the nuances, blah blah blah. I kind of went into pretty good detail in this video, actually, even though it was just an overview. But I'll go into more detail about testosterone and all the nuances and what you need to know before actually hopping on. Because some of you guys are dumbasses and can't even run a test cycle without fucking giving yourself gyno. So yeah, dude.